Apparently there was an incentive for that. Right, so the file name is WigglyWoo. However, we've only got 6 characters. So... whoa, that's the best I can do, unfortunately. Or fortunately, who knows. Alright, timing starts when I press this button. In 3, 2, 1, go! So this is Super Monkey Ball 2, story mode all levels. It's the longest main category in the game. I'm going to be playing all 100 stages in story mode. Yeah, and it's real simplistic as a game. Take a ball, you roll it into the goal. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it gets real difficult quite quickly. There's plenty of different... We have to use like some really roundabout ways of going as fast as we can, because realistically our options are very limited. We can only move with a control stick, that's all we've got. And pausing, that's all we've got to use, so we have to come up with some inventive ways of creating strats. You'll see me menu at the start and end of every stage. The start is to select retry, because when you start up a stage it gives you an initial cutscene, but it speeds that cutscene up if you've already played the stage once and hit retry. Nice. I presume so that you'd have to watch the same cutscene every time you fail on a really easy stage like Switches. But yeah, if you hit retry, you just get the faster, sped up cutscene, saves a bit of time. And then similarly at the end of the stage, the game writes that you've into memory that you've completed the stage once you break that goal tape. So we can just go and go to stage select, and it saves the fact that you've already beaten that stage. You don't have to watch the end cutscene either. Slightly interesting issue with the stage select at the end of the stage is that the game doesn't actually write that you've beaten the stage until 2 frames after you break the goal tape. It means you can do what's known as a first frame, where if you pause on the very first frame that the goal tape is broken and stage select, it won't save the fact that you've actually beaten the stage. So if you go too fast on that menu, you'll lose time because you have to do the stage again. And that's, yeah, the community just calls that first framing for fairly obvious. I mean, the first world's somewhat tame, and it's supposed to ease you into the game a bit. There's not a lot to talk about. There's also not a lot of unique strats, we're basically just playing the game as intended to go as fast as possible. I think it's World 2's got the first pause strat, but we'll actually use the pause button to help us go a lot faster. And the reason for that works is because this game actually has no RNG in it whatsoever. The only way... There's kind of luck, because collision is sometimes fucky. The game doesn't check for collision every frame, it checks for collision 48 frames in 60. Something weird like that. So you can sometimes get unlucky with collision, but it's not RNG. However, if you do... Well, not however, because there's no RNG, if you do exactly the same inputs on exactly the same frames, you will always achieve exactly the same results. But obviously being frame perfect on a 60 FPS game is not easy. But thankfully they gave us a pause button. Means that as long as we can recreate the same angles on the control stick consistently, we can then pause buffer to the same frame consistently. So the menus in this game are really well designed. You can do, as soon as you pause, you're able to move the menu, despite the fact that it's like moving on screen. You can already use the menu on the frame you've paused. So this is a pause frame. So you held up right until 58.60. Then we pause buffer to 58.60, and then we let go of the control stick in neutral, and then once we hit the coaster side, we just adjusted to the goal. Like I say, it's completely consistent because you do exactly the same inputs. So it makes that stage a lot quicker, otherwise you have to fall down to the lower platform. The next fastest strat is to fall down to the lower platform, then come to a stop and roll into the goal. There'll be a fair few pause strats in this run for awkward stages. Kind of naturally, as you get to the difficult end of the run with the harder stages, there'll be more pause strats. World 10 is full of them. More because World 10 isn't ridiculously difficult, there's just a lot of long stages in it. So pause strats tend to help a lot there because you can do some kind of nutty strat that skips half the stage, which just isn't RTA viable. That pause at the start of that stage is intentional to line up to the right cycle here. Well, this is a pause frame as well, but it's only one. We're going to hold up until 57.73 or 71. Up left. Ooh, interesting collision. Alright, solid recovery. Normally that fires you straight towards the goal, but I think I screwed up the adjustment slightly. Yeah, there's some pause strats that save a ton of time, and then there's ones like that last one I think probably saves about a second. But it looks really cool. Really all that matters. Also, apologies if I sound hella nasally. I woke up with a bit of a cold today. I agree. Being cool is more important than saving time. If it saves time as well, then you don't really have an option. You have to do it. This is another pause strat. This one saves a nutty amount of time, to the point where it's just pointless not doing. Going around the full stage is like a 30-second trip. Interesting. Party Ball's probably about as close to RNG as you get in this game, because it's not a perfect sphere, but it's as close to spherical as you can make in a game like this. The polygons? I don't really know what they use. But because it's kind of spherical but not, hitting it is a real crapshoot for what kind of rebound you're going to get. So you really want to avoid hitting it where possible. And there's things like this. It's not RNG, but it's luck based as to where you get that collision. So I got odd collision there. It makes routing this game somewhat interesting if you want to, find the most consistent way to get through that stage. Avoids as much dodgy collision as possible. While I'm in the quiet section, we'll point out there is a Tony Hawk's Underground speedrun coming up that's got a bonus blimp mission donation incentive, $75, and currently not sat at anything, so if you're looking to donate, get it towards that. I'm kind of interested what the bonus blimp mission is. I played Tony Hawk's Underground and I don't really remember that. This is another stage which collision can screw you on, but it's in a slightly odd way. We have to do that movement that I did quite specifically because there's little speed bumps on the floor, which is just where the collision kind of picks you up a little bit of speed along a flat surface. I think unintentionally, I don't think that was an intentional design. But if you actually hit those, it ruins the pattern and you get hit by one of the combs. So, avoid that. Another pause strat here. Oh, I must have screwed something up there. I was actually expecting that to work, I thought I'd done that correctly. That saves 4 or 5 seconds if you get it. You just roll along the centre beam into the goal. It's like a pseudo pause strat. We're not actually going to pause to anything, we're just going to hold up from the start. And that's because collision on these triangles can suck. So it gives us something consistent that we know how to react to. The neat strat on this stage, if I can get it, but it's probably the hardest one and doesn't save that much time, but it does look cool. Oh, I missed it. There's a green goal on the underside of that platform, which you can hit semi-consistently. And I say semi-consistently because you can hit it consistently, but it's really hard. You can only do it consistently if you're good. I'm not. The pause strat. This isn't actually for consistent inputs, but this is for consistent timing. Pause to a certain time so that we know where the goal is when we get to it. And this is the first instance of skipping a stage. We're actually going to do seesaw bridges, which is stage 4-9 last. The reason for that is... Okay, got it. So we're doing this stage last, and that's because it's the longest stage in the world. And Arthropod, which is the stage I just did, is one of the shortest. And we want to do the longest stage last because while we're in this stage, it's loading the cutscene that plays at the end of every world. So if I played Arthropod, the cutscene would load a little bit, but then we'd have to wait for the rest of it to load once we'd beaten Arthropod. But because this stage takes a while, it will have loaded the cutscene almost entirely. There's a little optimization actually found by one of the new, well I say new, they've been around for about a year now, relatively new to the community, Japanese runners. So we'll be doing that in a few worlds. This is about as close to RNG as we're going to get. This stage sucks. We need good collision off of this. No, we didn't get it. So, ideally you clip the edge of the stage that I rolled over and it chucks you straight up to the goal. There's a pause strat to get it as well, but it's 3 frames and it's just kind of more, I personally think it's more fun to just go for it. Obviously if you're consistent at pause strats, it's more consistent to do that. Uh-oh. This could be really, really bad. Can I recover that? Close enough. That was a weird one. Made an oopsie whoopsie. Well, that might be a first frame. It was. Okay, so that was a good example of it. You clearly saw that the gold tape was broken when I paused, but going to stage select, the stage hasn't been written as beaten. That's because I paused on the very first frame that the gold tape was broken. Much easier to do on stages where you gain a lot of speed because the actual amount of frames that you're past the goal is less effectively. You can kind of predict when you're going to get past the goal, especially if you've got consistent speed. That unfortunately loses a whack of time. It effectively adds an extra stage onto the run. But it's about the only mistake you can make for going too fast. Another stage skip there. We'll do zigzag slope last for the same reason that we did seesaw bridges last. I haven't actually mentioned, at the start of every stage I don't just hold up, as you would intuitively expect, but I'm swerving right and left, and that is intentional. It's faster to accelerate by holding up left or up right, and it's also a faster acceleration to bounce off of the walls as well. Oh, that's fun. That's another instance of collision not being a friend. Got unlucky. Yeah, you'll see it here. I'll hold up right and then roll off of the wall. It just accelerates you much faster than holding up. Similarly, I'll go for a couple of clips off the edge of the corners here. Oh, that was a slightly slow one. This is just where collision can be nice or nasty. If you're really unlucky, it'll throw you into the drink. How many PBs have been lost to a first frame? It's not that big a time loss. It is and it isn't. I don't know of anybody that's PB'd. Because like you wouldn't really know that a PB's been lost to a first frame unless you were in like the final couple of worlds and on PB pace, and then you first framed and it would suck. I don't know of anybody that's done that. I think people tend to, consciously or not, avoid menuing too quickly as they get later into the run. Like you're intentionally trying to. Sorry. Ah, nice, got it. I had to concentrate there just to make sure I got the right frames. That's a fun strat. Yeah, you're intentionally trying to go like really optimize your menuing at the start of a run, which is probably why it happens more earlier on into runs, whereas you're trying to keep a run alive towards the end. I'm not going to skip any stages in this world, not because it's not useful, but because there aren't any really long stages. This is a world of short stages. The last stage in this world is about the same length as any others. Might as well just leave it at last. Yeah, monkey ball makes for an interesting speedrun for a multitude of reasons. One of my favourite things is the variation in strats. Yeah, there are plenty of fast strats for every stage, but it's kind of up to you whether you want to do them or not. So I'm not doing every single fast strat. I'm doing the ones that I'm doing a lot of them, but not all of them. So there's a few that I find very difficult, some that I consider to be too difficult for the amount of time that they save, and that's just what makes it interesting. So you can watch another runner. Ooh, am I going to make that? Ooh, intentional strats. Yeah, so you can watch another runner and they could do a completely different set of strats. This is a hard strat. And I missed it, oh well. So there's a first cycle to make on this stage, but the movement's very tight, both to get that clip that I missed and to actually move properly up the spiral, because it's also sort of counterintuitive. It seemed like you'd want to stay on the inside of the spiral, because that's the shortest path, but it's also the steepest once you get to the top. So your movement has to be a little odd. Yeah. Fortunately I missed it, so haha, we don't get to watch that. I suck. The little pause strat here saves a couple of seconds if I get it. Ta-da! Pretty slow pause buffering to be fair, but I still save time. This is a stage where there is a faster strat, but I opt not to do it. It's a good strat, I just suck at it. Realistically, I think it saves a second. This is one of the first pause strats in any monkey ball run because this stage takes forever without it. Like a 35-second stage if you don't do that. Awful. This is a difficult stage as well. Or at least it's a difficult strat. Yeah. I wasn't quite fast enough there. A bit more speed. That's too much speed, maybe? Oh, it's about right. That's just a difficult strat all around. You have to have the right speed going into it, not get awkward collision. You have to react to your collision well. A lot of people when they're first learning that strat tend to overshoot, tend to land on the second part fine but overshoot it because they're pushing forward too much. You have to hold back like a bit before you land. This is an interesting strat as well. Well, actually I didn't, I think I got unlucky and got the bump. That one I screwed up. Uh-oh. Alright, we got it. The old way of doing that stage was to do, it's basically the same strat except you boosted off the walls. That was completely inconsistent because the walls could screw you. The wall collision on the walls could really screw you. So that setup was found for consistent collision, but it's quite tight. Quite difficult to actually make that angle. Again, we leave this stage till last to let the next cutscene load in for longer. This marathon does have some amazing games in it. Shout out to the Metroid Fusion race that's happening, I think, tonight. I know one of the guys doing that race called Monkey, cool guy. And then the marathon finale, which is Pokemon Fire Red Round 2. It's an amazing category, and it's Crafted running it. He's a cool guy also. Definitely tune in for those ones. Tune in for as much of the marathon as you can. I'd definitely recommend those runs. Ah, dude. I got dodgy collision. Is Monkey Ball Runner talk for I suck. This is the world where the difficulty really kicks in. World 7 is 50-50. It's like half really easy stages and half really difficult ones. Everything starts being difficult from here. Lurking for 20 hours. Get some sleep, son. And good man, but get some sleep as well. Yeah, this is a difficult strat. Probably the strat that new runners struggle with the most, because again it saves a ton of time. You kind of have to go for that. Doing the stage normally is like 30 seconds longer. Okay, damn. Oh, I screwed that up twice. It's a shame because I like that strat. Another pause strat here. Up left to 59.93. 0.25 over 23. all the way along. Goal. Again, we'll skip that stage. We'll leave walk till last because it's a 20-second stage. This has got a fun strat. It's kind of annoying as well. Yep. Hey, I got the full strat. First try. Yeah, you have to get clipped up by that tiny little nubbin thing that's running along the side of the trampoline. Not these. Yeah, maybe. Sleep is your friend, my dude. I had a very nice sleep last night. Sleep at 11:30 and didn't wake up until 10:30. Hit that snooze alarm strat. Excellent choice it was. I don't know why I said that like Yoda. Excellent choice it was. I am using a GameCube controller, yes. Although I'm actually on a Wii. It's because all of the GameCubes I've got have kind of dodgy lasers. So sometimes they'll just decide not to read the disc and that just kills the run. You can be this far into it and the GameCube just goes, nah, not today. Sleep is your friend. So yeah, World 9's a little bit of a lull. I think World 8's actually harder than 9. Then there's some nutty strats in this. Guillotine's a fun one, always a bit of a crowd pleaser. Hello there. We'll hold up. We're not actually going to boost on this stage because you can get a little bit of a speed boost off the end of this ramp and it ruins this strat. So this is the fun one. Normally you'd go all the way around avoiding the guillotine blades, but we're going to try and do this. Ah, missed it. Got it. Bip. Ta-da! That really complicated set of pauses is to get the perfect angle and speed and timing to get hit by the guillotine. Died. Neat. That's a really stupid stage to die on. I don't need to boost as much. Yeah, I basically slept for 11 hours. Strong sleep. That's a fun strat too. Not the easiest. It doesn't look like much, but it is quite difficult. And again, we leave corkscrew till last so that it can load in the next cutscene. We won't bother doing that in World 10 because there's no cutscene after World 10, obviously. Well, there is, but it doesn't count for the speedrun matter. We have to actually pull back here, otherwise we have too much speed and we fall out. With a 7-turn sleep. Gen 2 now, do we? Is it Gen 2 that's got, or is it Gen 1 that's got 7-turn sleep? Either which way is disgusting. Disgusting. So, World 10 is full of pause strats because these stages are goddamn long without them. This is the first one. slick. So this stage takes 50 seconds if you do it normally. The pause strat alone saves about 25 to 30 seconds. It's really stupid. And there's a bunch of stages like that. World 10 is just awful. Schmattering. This is another stage that's about 45 seconds normally. It's not a pause strat for this one, but it is a skip. Not easy. This might take me a couple of attempts. Or we can just get it first try. Easy every time. Still a long stage. 20 seconds is still chunky. And then this one, God, I hope I get this strat. Yes, alright. I took absolutely forever pausing that, but it is so worth it. That's 12 seconds plus however long it takes you to pause. If you beat the stage normally it takes 35, I think. Damn it. Yeah, so this, it's not quite a true pause strat, it's just to set you up nicely. Alright, we're just going to do the stage normally. I'd suck at this one pause strat for some reason, so be safe, boys. And so the gimmick of this stage is that half the stage is invisible. That little clip is to jump over what is actually a gap and not an invisible platform. Alright, time is when I break the gold tape on this stage. And this has a nutty strat that we'll give one go, because it's fun. Alright, I missed it, but you see what I was trying to go for there. You get your bounce off of the inside of the A, and it throws you into the goal. The movement for it is really awkward, because you have to do this starting section properly after you hit the button, and then it's like you push all the way, oh time, you push all the way up and then hold back right just as you land, and it's awful. Yeah, that was Monkey Ball. Story mode all levels, really fun category. Thank you for having me on Keizathon, and shout out to all the organisers for this. 33-11. It's okay. I'm alright with that. Yeah. Thanks to everybody that's put this on. Thanks to everybody that's donated to save the keys. Oh, have we got time for the magical spell? The monkeys are going to make some magic. Shout out to WigglyWoo. Oh, it's not. It's not the monkey magic one. We don't get to shout "ee poo." Never mind. Reminded this is a kids game. Yeah, thanks very much for having me on. Time for WigglyWoo. Well, the WigglyWoo was a file name, but we can do the high score name. I think, unless I was too bad and didn't get a good score. In case we can't do anything. Ah, no, go away. Scenes for days. Yeah, we can do a high score. What's the high score name, guys? 6 characters max. I'm just going to take the first thing that appears in chat. And this delay is good. I'm hoping I'm not just being ignored. He's a W. There we go. That's just Wiggly Woo again though. Slightly disappointing. No, I'm joking. Look at how many letters you made me scroll. Disgusting. Yep. Oh, and he beat Amoeba. That's cool. What a cool guy. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys.